This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Monday, January 5th, 2026. I'm Alex Brown. Bloomington-based Motion is celebrating partnerships with nearly 24 schools nationwide in its first year. The sports technology company has developed platforms to help athletic departments manage scheduling, connect day-to-day operations, and help student athletes navigate NIL compliance, says CEO Jay Townsend.
College sports is changing so fast, it can almost make an athletic department's head just like spin like a top. They don't have a lot more people, but the rules and regulations and the money and the new legislation and lawsuits coming just makes this cycle of evolution just go so much faster. Motion wants to bring the technology that steadies them.
To date, most of the company's clients are in Indiana and include IU Columbus, IU East in Richmond, and IU Northwest in Gary. Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita has filed a lawsuit against Eli Lilly and Co, alleging the drug maker participates in a scheme with other insulin manufacturers and pharmacy benefit managers to inflate insulin prices. Rokita said the lawsuit, filed in the Lake County Superior Court, is part of his office's intensifying efforts to lower insulin prices and improve healthcare affordability. In an email to the IBJ, Lilly spokesperson Michael Jamieson called the lawsuit a waste of resources. Jasper Mayor Dean Vonderheide announced today he is planning to resign from his position on March 31st. Vonderheide, who has led the Du Bois County City since 2018, cited a desire to focus on his health and family as the primary reason for his departure. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Thanks for listening to this IBJ Media podcast. You're probably going to remember this ad. Do you know why? Podcast advertising works. 85% of listeners recalled hearing an ad during a podcast, and 70% of podcast listeners have acted after hearing an ad. So whether you're looking to be heard across the entire IBJ Media Podcast Network, sponsor one of our shows, or just start with a 30-second ad, IBJ Media can help. Contact advertise@ibj.com to learn more.
A new report from the Indiana Department of Child Services outlines fatal maltreatment of children in the state. IIB's Aubriana Herron has more.
59 children died of caregiver abuse or neglect in 2024, according to the report released just before the end of 2025. Of those, 18 were due to abuse and 41 were due to neglect. The total has stayed in a similar range in recent years, from a low of 50 in 2020 and a high of 61 in 2022. DCS reviewed 276 child fatalities in 2024. The agency reviews all child deaths that involve allegations of abuse or neglect, and for children under the age of 3, all fatalities that are sudden or unexplained. 42 or 71% of the victims were under age 3. Death by weapon, which includes body parts like closed fists, was the leading cause of death, listed in 20% of cases. Asphyxia, poisonings, drownings, and unsafe sleep conditions were other top factors. DCS pulls cases of death from state death certificates. Of the 78 alleged perpetrators deemed responsible for the fatalities, 63 or 81% were the children's biological parents. The report cited a variety of caregiver stressors, like insufficient income, unemployment, substance abuse, and a history of abuse, either as a victim themselves or as a perpetrator. Aubriana Herron, Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Thrive West Central is seeking proposals from builders to construct 28 single-family homes in an initiative that the community development organization believes will boost property values and encourage further investment in an Eastside Terre Haute neighborhood. Working in partnership with its nonprofit affiliate Strat Stacker in the city of Terre Haute, Thrive West Central says the homes in the infill housing project will be aimed at homebuyers at 60% of the area median income and above. The project aims to expand the local housing stock, boost property values in the Liberty Avenue neighborhood, and encourage private investment. Hammond Mayor Tom McDermott says he predicts the Chicago Bears will come to Indiana as they search for a potential new stadium location. Speaking on his Left of Center podcast, McDermott said if the Bears are going to consider Northwest Indiana for a new stadium, the city of Hammond will be in that conversation. He added that Indiana provides financial benefits for the team.
They want property tax certainty. This is compelling for why Indiana makes sense to me. property tax certainty. In other words, the Bears want a deal where they could lock in a stable payment each year rather than risk much higher taxes once the stadium and development are completed. So they're boxed in, right? Soldier Field's outdated. It limits revenue. Arlington Heights needs public infrastructure money that the Illinois General Assembly is unwilling to give, and Springfield isn't buying what the Bears are selling.
The mayor added that the time it would take to get from Soldier Field to Hammond is significantly less than the distance to Arlington Heights, where the Bears had previously planned to build a stadium. Tom Griswold of The Bob and Tom Show is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, and entertainment, and beyond. Available now on the IBJ Media app or your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.